He didn't win a race in 2025. That's not great for a rider that you're going to pay that much money to. Any concerns about that from you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I think it's a great deal for him. I mean, if you're able to strike such a contract, a very lucrative contract, after a season that was far from good, I think that's great.
Everybody, welcome back to the Move Plus. I'm Spencer Martin. I'm here with Johan Bruyneel. We are breaking down the week in cycling news. Biniam Girmay joining NSN Pro Cycling for the 2026 season. Rumors that Ineos is going after Oscar Onley. A cost cap coming to professional cycling. How would that even work? The Giro route reveal and a few other things before we get to a few listener questions. But Johan, before we get into it, let's take a quick break to hear from today's sponsor. Hey everybody, today's episode is brought to you by NordVPN, which has become a must-have for me to keep up with all the cycling and other sports I want to watch as I'm traveling around the globe. And what I love most is the freedom it gives me. With NordVPN, I can safely access my favorite streams and cycling coverage no matter where I am in the world. During major races, that's huge. Whether I'm traveling to a race or just trying to catch a broadcast that isn't available in my home region, I can just switch my virtual location in seconds and watch exactly what I want. For example, I'm going to Spain to the UAE team training camp, and I'm thinking, wow, well, I want to watch these college football games that are coming up. Not a problem. I can stay plugged in by just firing up my NordVPN, going to my ESPN account, and flipping that on in my hotel in Spain. It's incredibly easy to use. Just one click to connect. And with over 7,500 servers in 118 countries, I can change my virtual location effortlessly. NordVPN is also one of the fastest VPNs out there, so I never deal with buffering when I'm streaming a big mountain stage. Plus, one NordVPN account works across 10 devices and supports every major platform: Windows, Android, and Mac iOS. You name it, they got it. And if you want to try NordVPN, you can do it right now with no risk with our exclusive NordVPN deal. Go to nordvpn.com/themove to try it out risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, nordvpn.com/themove for a 30-day money-back guarantee. Link is in the episode show notes. Okay, Johan, people were saying this. People were texting me like, can you believe this happened? It's like, yeah, because we talked about this on the show 3 months ago. But Biniam Girmay is officially joining NSN Cycling Team for 2026. Why is this happening? Why is he leaving Intermarché Lotto, I guess, which is now Lotto? How much is he getting paid to do this? And do you think this is a good idea?
Yeah, well, I mean, the rumors were there for a long time. Then, of course, I think the agreement was probably already almost done when the team was still named Israel Premier Tech. Then I guess it got on standby a bit because of everything that happened with that team, and also because Intermarché apparently tried to make things difficult for Girmay. Basically, they wanted to hold him to his contract with Intermarché, although Intermarché is not a team anymore, and it's now Lotto, the responsible for the new team, Lotto Intermarché. We still don't know exactly how that's going to be called, actually, if it's going to be Lotto Intermarché or so. But I think it was clear already from a few months ago that Biniam Girmay would go there, and I think. I mean, I think it's a pretty good name, for that team. Although, I think it's fair to say that Biniam Girmay didn't have the greatest season in 2025 after his amazing 2024 season with, three stage wins in the Tour in the green jersey. But it's a personality, right? And so he's very recognizable. I think it's a good move for both parties. I'm kind of tempted to think, Biniam, okay, great, because he's at the end of his career. He's not. He's super young. He's still.
This is not a retirement contract. He is 25 years old.
Okay, so it's not his last contract, but I think it's a 3-year deal. If I would have to guess, I have no information, but I am pretty sure it's north of 2 million euros per year. So not anywhere close to what he was making at Intermarché. It was a lot less there. But I think it's substantially higher than his contract at Intermarché. So definitely a really good deal for him and for the team, I would say. So yeah, I mean, I like it. I think it's a good move.
Yeah, and if you think about it, Intermarché was their closing shop essentially. So he's going to have to go to a new team anyway. Might as well go to the team that's going to pay you more than €2 million a year. I would. I actually like the move for both parties. It gives NSN a much needed identity. Right off the bat, boom.
Yeah.
They have Biniam. He didn't win a race in 2025. That's not great for a rider that you're going to pay that much money to. Any concerns about that from you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I think it's a great deal for him. I mean, if you're able to strike such a contract, a very lucrative contract, after a season that was far from good, I think that's great. If you would have stayed at Lotto or the new team, Lotto Intermarché, they don't have the means to get anywhere close to that kind of money for Biniam Girmay, especially because they already have Arnaud Delis, who's on a big contract. I mean, concerns. Yeah, I mean, he's young, so I don't know exactly why he underperformed this year. I mean, did he underperform this year? Did he overperform last year? We don't know. I mean, he is definitely a talented rider. Yeah, I can see him bounce back, actually. I can see him win races. Although, in cycling nowadays, everything goes at such a fast pace that once you're out of it, you better don't stay out of it for too long, because there's new people coming all the time. And before you know it, you're, 1.5%, 2% worse than you were before, and you're not competitive anymore.
Yeah, and we're not saying that's going to happen to him. It's just it's a concern when you're dealing with this level of money at this level of racing. It is. You mentioned Delis. It's kind of unclear to me if it would have worked, even if he would have stayed, because then how does he split that with Arnaud Delis? And then who would you rather have if they were going to get paid the same and you were running Lotto? Which would you pick, Delis or Girmay?
I mean, if I would be running Lotto, for sure I would pick Delis. First of all, because he's Belgian. It's a Belgian team. Delis is a super talent, incredible potential. Tends to, have difficulties, struggles a little bit with, staying focused for a long time. But, if you get him on the rails, he is incredibly strong. I mean, he had a difficult beginning of the season, was underperforming, then took a little break, then did the Tour and came out of the Tour de France with really good shape. Did a few good stages at the Tour. But then after the Tour, he had like a few months where he was really, really good. I think he won like 6-7 races in a very short period of time. So Delis is definitely a huge, huge talent. It just needs to be more steady, more consistent in his performances and stay focused. But if I would be running Lotto, you have to choose Delis over Girmay.
I mean, just between August 24th and September 20th, he won 5 races. Delis, that's impressive. Yeah. He's 2 years younger than Girmay. Interestingly, if you every race in their career, they've gone head to head 105 times. Delis won 55 times. Girmay's won 47 times. So Delis younger and has. We would really have to dig into that to find like useful metrics, but it's not nothing. I mean, he's really good. I think this is a good move for Girmay to go to NSN
for sure.
Start, get paid a lot of money. It's a good idea.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
And then what is going on with NSN Pro Cycling? I don't know if we talked about this last week, but they had their team camp. And who is at the team camp? But their old friend Sylvan Adams. I mean, what do we make of this?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's. I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, it was official. I think there were reports. He was there. Officially, he's not involved anymore with the team, I guess. I don't believe that. I think he is still involved, especially because I'm pretty sure that for 2026, as I said in last week, he is still financing the team. So yeah, I think behind the scenes, he's I mean, and I'm fine with it actually. If he's, I think that statement of him being not stepping back was more of a political statement than anything else. But yeah, I mean, we saw now that officially they changed to Scott, right? That's official. Factor is out. Scott moves from Q36.5, which is now going to be Pinarello Q36.5 to NSN. And yeah, I've also heard that's actually interesting for somebody like Derek G. I think that's good news for Derek G. I have heard that during the training camp that all the riders on NSN, or at least all the riders that were part of Israel Premier Tech, now NSN, so with running contracts, had to sign new contracts. I don't know if it's because if the new contract says, normally when you sign a contract, you sign it with the paying agent. Let's say, sports promotion, how do you call that? Incorporated, something like a company, right? Who owns and manages the team. That's usually how it goes. So you sign a contract with that paying agent, and then it doesn't really matter what the team is called. So the fact that they had to sign new contracts tells me that there's probably a change in the paying agent, or something substantial that would not allow the existing contracts to be valid anymore for 2026. So if they had to sign new contracts, and also the fact that, for example, one of the riders of Israel Premier Tech, who was linked to Premier Tech, the Canadian rider Hugo Hull, had a contract for 2026 with the team and has left, so it doesn't fulfill his contract and moves to Alpecin.
Whoa. So
I think that those contracts, so for Derek G, I think it opens a door. And we haven't heard any or read anything about it, but it's safe to say that Derek G is not going to ride for NSN Cycling Team, and I'm pretty confident he's going to ride for Ineos in 2026.
Well, that's pretty significant. If people are signing new contracts, Hugo Hull is leaving. That would suggest that maybe Derek G is canceling. I hope he got refundable hotel rooms in Switzerland for his court dates, because he might not be fighting this in court for as long as he thought. Mm-hmm. I would love to see that just resolved and him be able to move on, because I really like him as a rider. Interesting you mentioned Hugo Hull, because where is he from? He's from Quebec. Who else is from Quebec? Premier Tech, the company. Mm-hmm. And Premier Tech is leaving NSN, going to, we heard today, Alpecin. So the team's going to be called Alpecin Premier Tech. Mm-hmm. DeConnick is staying, just not at a title sponsor level. This seems like a really good situation for the Roodhoof brothers. I can't believe they pulled this off. Yeah.
Well, there were rumors already. Then, there was some doubt when Premier Tech announced that they were associating themselves with this French team. What's it called? The French team?
It's like Mont Saint Michel. It's like a women's.
Yeah. They have a men's team too, I think, but I think it's more of a partnership. They were definitely not in the name. I think they're focusing more on the women's team there in France. I saw that there's 2 Canadian riders on the women's team, obviously also linked with Premier Tech. But hey, if Premier Tech had the choice to go somewhere, I would choose Alpecin in a heartbeat. It's, when you can associate yourself with the program of the Roodhoof brothers and with, Mathieu van der Poel, Jasper Philips, and Katie Groves, it's not that difficult. I think that's not a difficult decision. I think it's a smart decision from both sides. So I'm not surprised that happened. But today it's been officially confirmed finally.
Yeah, and it's and you keep DeConnick at some level, but they were going to step back anyway, and you fill the title sponsorship slot. Really good for them. Would also suggest, as we said, Derek G probably free to go if Hugo Hull was free to go. Mm-hmm. Speaking of teams, riders, I think you said Derek G is going to be riding for Ineos. Well, another rumor we've heard is Oscar Onley is being pursued aggressively by Ineos. Have you heard anything about this? Do you think this is legitimate, and do you think this is a good idea?
Yeah, I've also read some speculations. It's not official. I think it's just thinking out loud right now, but it would make sense to me. Now the question is, okay, what are we, the 5th of December, right? To see that happening now would be unique, I would say, but not impossible. Not impossible. Yeah, so I mean, I've read about it, Spencer. It's not an official news, but I think it's just thinking out loud. I kind of think it would make sense for Ineos for sure, for Oscar Only also, and then of course we have his existing team, Picnic. What is it? Picnic Post NL. I mean, they've changed names so many times the last years. That's it has happened before. I mean, the manager or the owner of the team, Ivan Spekenbrink, I think he's kind of a specialist in, I would call him like the wheeler dealer in professional cyclists. It has happened a lot that riders that were on his team with existing contracts have left. Tom Dumoulin, Mark Hershey, Marcel Kittel, many. I mean, these three,
John
for example.
Degenkolb, I believe. No,
Degenkolb is still there.
He's still at that team?
Yeah, he still races. Yeah.
Oh,
he's still at that team. Yeah.
I forgot he was still there.
So Spekenbrink in that point of view has been a very smart business decision maker. Is that he got a lot of money for letting riders go that still had running contracts. That's another way of financing the team or his own pockets. I don't know. I struggle to understand, Spencer. I don't know what you think is, if you have these star riders and you're kind of getting these sponsors on board, then we know, we had, what did we have? We had DSM, then we had, what was it? Fermic or something?
Yep. Ferment.
Anyways, there's been so many. I mean, I don't know. It's like a team without identity. But I don't know how he manages to justify these departures to his sponsors, unless he says, okay, let's say he's getting the money for the rider, and then makes a deal with the sponsor that they have to pay that X amount less. I don't know. I mean, there must be some kind of agreement there. But if you let your riders go, your good riders, your team gets weaker and weaker. And I think it's safe to say, that team is one of the weakest, if not the weakest team in the World Tour, especially now that COVID is gone.
Well, so the only thing I was thinking of is what you said, that it's a deal with the sponsors. Like, you're coming in at this price. This is not enough for us to sustain. We're going to have to make a sale. Maybe that's disclosed up front. But here's a question for you. Of these riders that they've sold, who has done better after they leave?
Not many.
Not many at all. So
no.
He can go to the sponsors and say, hey, trust me. Like, I know when I'm selling high, and this is a good decision. I'm not saying I don't want to wish ill on us.
Why would that be? That's a bit suspicious. I mean, I don't want to be the devil's advocate here, but that's a bit strange. Like, okay, he's performing extremely well. Like Hershey, for example, was flying when he was at was it DSM or was it Giant still? It was DSM, no?
It was DSM,
yeah. And then leaves, and he got back to a certain level that 2 years after he left, but I don't know. It's strange. I mean, Kittel, after Kittel left, I guess Kittel went to Quick Step and he won quite some stages at the Tour.
And there are legitimate reasons too why, you could just be like, we train these guys into the ground. Like, their legs are about to fall off. Let's get rid of them. I mean, that's not pleasant to think about. So John Degenkolb left. So this is where the confusion came in. He was at Giant Alpecin.
Left for Trek.
And he left and came back later. That's why we were confused. But let's take a quick break, and then when we get back, let's talk about how if Oscar Onley does it, how would he slot in at Ineos, and is this a good pickup for them? Hey everybody, this episode is brought to you by Huel. Every December, I promise I'm going to stay on top of my wellness routine, and suddenly I'm traveling. I'm at 3 different family dinners, and my nutrition plan falls apart. But this year, shockingly, Huel's the reason I'm going to solve this problem. That's Huel, Huel. Lately, I've been using the Huel Ready to Drink, and I'm leaning into it right now. Complete meal in a bottle, 35 grams of protein, 7 grams of fiber, and 27 vitamins and minerals. It's got it right here because I need it to get me through this podcast. Literally ready to go. No prep, no mess, and keeps me full when the alternate is grabbing whatever snack is closest or the airplane food, or not the airport food. That's not going to help you stay healthy. And they have a new chocolate peanut butter flavor that is just so good. It makes avoiding those chocolate peanut butter cups just a bit easier and helps you with the sweet tooth. And I've been loving Huel's new canned Super Greens drink as well. 42 vitamins and nutrients, 4 grams of fiber, 25 calories, and no added sugar. It's so popular around my house. I went to grab it for this ad read. Gone. I've been out of the house the last few days, and people have been taking those super green drinks because they are delicious and good for you. And Huel just launched in the Target nationwide. Find them in the health and wellness aisle. Get Huel today with this exclusive offer for new customers, 15% off with code THEMOVE at huel.com/THEMOVE. That's HUEL.com/THEMOVE. Minimum $75 purchase. And just thanks again to Huel for helping me stay sane and healthy during this holiday season. Hey everybody, this episode is brought to you by Bubs Natural. You know the moment you realize you're not 25 anymore? For me, that's been doing the L Tour to Tucson, then going to Thanksgiving, then going down to Austin for some work, and now on to Spain for the UAE team camp. The jet lag is tougher than it used to. Race recovery is harder, and my body just isn't bouncing back as quickly anymore. Getting older hits harder than you'd expect, but here's the good news. It does not have to. And that's why I've been using Bubs Natural Collagen Peptides. Starting in your mid-20s, your body produces less collagen every single year. Collagen is literally the glue that holds everything together. So it's important. And Bubs helps you bring those levels closer to what your body had when you were younger. The result, stronger joints, healthier hair and nails, smoother skin, and a noticeably faster recovery. And the best part is how easy it is to use. Just mix a scoop into your morning coffee. I do it every day, even while I'm traveling. There's no taste, no smell, and it dissolves instantly. No clumps, no chalky aftertaste. You don't even know it's there until you feel the difference. And what makes Bubs special is the story behind it. The company's named after Glenn Bub Doherty, a former Navy SEAL, an American hero who lost his life saving others in Benghazi. The brand carries his spirit of improvement and service, and Bubs donates 10% of all profits to charity, starting with the Glenn Doherty Memorial Foundation. So live better longer. For a limited time only, our listeners are getting 20% off at Bubs Naturals by using code WEDU, WEDU, at checkout. Just head to bubsnaturals.com and use code WEDU, and you're all set for that 20% off. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please tell them it was us so we get credit for it and you can support the show. All right, let's get back to it. Okay, Johan. So if Oscar Onley, let's say he does go to Ineos. We don't know if that's going to happen, but if he does, is this a good acquisition for them? And where is the team heading with him as their leader?
I think it's good for both. The question is also, again, is Oscar Onley going to perform at the same level when he's not with Picnic Post NL anymore? I would guess yes. He's a good rider. I think for Ineos, they kind of need a British top rider. And it's the only one right now that would be available. There's the Yates brothers, but I think they're set.
Yeah, I wouldn't get in that business.
They've been already at Ineos or Sky.
Yeah.
So,
well, at least Adam was.
Yeah, both.
Both were at Ineos?
I think
I'm losing my mind today.
I'm pretty sure both were
Hold
there.
on a second. Both at Ineos. Hold on. No. So, okay. So this is Simon Yates. Remember, he started at Orica. Adam leaves, the Mitchelton Scott Orica. Adam leaves. He stays all the way until this was his first year not on that team. When he went to Visma. Okay. Yeah. Which is potentially why his career wasn't as illustrious. Yeah.
Well, that's debatable, Spencer. I mean, if you
Well,
look at
if you
Simon Yates has won the Vuelta and the Giro, and Adam Yates hasn't won a Grand Tour. That's
nothing is more fun to me than debating Simon or Adam. They actually have a creepy similar career.
Yeah.
And but almost, almost when one is good, the other is like one is waxing, one is waning. And then like Simon broke out this year. Obviously he won the Vuelta.
Yeah. Well,
why is Adam never won a Grand Tour? That's kind of interesting too.
2 years ago, was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago? They were third and fourth in the Tour. Huh?
And first and second on the opening stage.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. No, but I mean, Oscar only, I think it would make sense we still don't know what's going to happen with Derek G, but, I would say, with all the respect for both of those riders, but, Derek G is also not, at least he hasn't proven yet that he is a solid leader that a team really can, build their whole program around. And neither is Oscar Only. I think Oscar Only has probably been more consistent than Derek G. But, they're podium candidates in Grand Tours. They're not candidate winners of Grand Tours in today's cycling, I would say. And so, there's not that many, right? There's not that many riders who can win Grand Tours and that are available. And that would be, interesting. But listen, I think the fact that it has remained so quiet on the transfer front at Ineos speaks for, in my opinion, there's still something cooking. I think the Derek G situation, that agreement, in my opinion, is done behind the scenes. Now it's to be solved, legally. But the Oscar Only, possibility, I think it would still be, I think Brailsford is still going to try to make it happen.
I agree. I think there's something cooking. And I think that the fact that Sam Welsford was coming and then now it's pending, it's not signed, like they're waiting to see something.
Yeah.
But here, let me argue the devil's advocate here. So let's just say Oscar Onley, Derek G, and Kevin Buckland go to that team for next year.
Mm-hmm.
All three of those guys, and I say this with all due respect, were on far inferior teams in terms of money to spend on training camps, money to spend on equipment, trainers, methodology. If they were doing what they were doing with those teams, if you're Dave Brailsford, are you thinking, well, I bring them in and these are thoroughbreds hiding in plain sight versus someone like Juan Ayuso, who is on the world's best team. And because that's the only other alternative, right? Like Tadej Pogacar is not available. Jonas Vingegaard's not available. Who are you going to get? That's Isaac Del Toro's not available. There's not a lot of options out there.
Yeah.
I think these guys might be your best bet if you're Ineos.
For sure. And it's clear that they're going to find an infrastructure that they're not used to. Sometimes it happens that riders who perform really well on a smaller team go to a bigger team, and you don't see that much difference, if any at all. So
sometimes they get worse, actually. Yeah.
Sometimes get worse. Yeah.
But Matteo Jorgensen and Christophe Laporte would be the two big examples. Matteo Jorgensen was very good at Movistar, but he stepped up a level when he went to Visma.
For sure. Yeah.
I think if you're Ineos, this is the only option at the moment. You have to hope that these guys can find another level and that you're buying low on them, because otherwise I don't really love the idea of, Red Bull spent so much money on Remco. The other two options are Remco and Juan Ayuso, and they cost so much money.
Yeah.
Is that really going to pan out?
Yeah. No, I think those are, there are not many options. So, and I think in the case of Oscar Only, it makes a lot of sense to go after him. He's Scottish, no? He's a Scot.
He's Scott. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's from the borderlands, I think. I don't even know where that is.
Who Ineos really needs to have in there. It's kind of, not logical that he's not on Ineos is Matthew Brennan. He's the guy they need.
I know. He's the superstar British rider that that got away. How did that happen? We're not quite sure.
Mm-hmm.
Also, a really strange amount of good riders that come from, it's like south of the Thames down to the English Channel. There's just like so many top riders that come from there. I think Matthew Brennan's from there. The Herne Hill Velodrome greater area. But speaking of riders, GC, let's just pencil Tadej. People don't want to do this, but let's just pencil Tadej Pogačar in for Tour title 2026. So if you're Ineos, you're probably not trying to win the Tour with these guys in 2026. You're trying to win other Grand Tours, and then you're trying to win the Tour maybe in a slightly longer timeline. One of those tours, Grand Tours, Giro d'Italia, just released its route. And, it's all, I feel like all these routes kind of look the same. I don't want to be dismissive of the Giro d'Italia. I can't even find it's the tab here. But it's 21 stages, starts in Bulgaria. It seems like every Giro d'Italia now has to start in an Eastern European country. They do it so they can make money. The thing is, we get an extra little rest day as content providers, which is nice. And it has a one-time trial, 40K long. It's flat. I assume that's a little gift to Remco Evenepoel. A tough third week, but maybe not quite as crushing as years past, which is potentially to open things up. But like stage 14 has it's a 16K long, 17K long finishing climb at 7%. And then stage 16 has a 12K long climb at 8%. So it's still some tough summit finishes. In terms of starters, we have Isaac Del Toro confirmed, I believe. And then we have Jonas Vingegaard potential and Remco Evenepoel potential starter. If all those three start, who do you think wins? And do you think Jonas and Remco should do this? Or is this giving up on the Tour?
I think Remco has kind of hinted that... his focus is the Tour. The Spring Classics with Flèche and Liège and the Tour. So I don't think Remco will be at the start of the Giro. I think they're going to go for. Don't know if Primoz would. Primoz would probably. In my opinion, Primoz should probably do the Giro and the Vuelta. Then at Red Bull, and then
they also have Jai Hindley.
And they have Pellizzari also, who wants to do the Giro. And Lipowitz and Remco the Tour, and then Primoz full gas for the Vuelta.
Are we missing one of their GC riders? They have a lot of GC riders.
Oh, they have Dani Martinez, but he's kind of faded away a bit.
Yeah, I guess he could be back in theory, but that would be.
Yeah. He was second. He was second in the Giro.
Pretty good. Pretty good rider. I think you're right. I think Alexander Vlasov, not really GC rider anymore, but I think Primoz does have to do Giro. The smarter move would be
then
Giro.
I think the question is Jonas, right? Jonas, it would make sense for Jonas to do the Giro. I think he has a great chance of winning it. Basically, whenever Tadej is not there, it's Jonas. The big favorite. So he can definitely win this Giro d'Italia, and then he would have won all three Grand Tours, which is definitely something that every professional champion wants to, tick that box. If you can win all three, there's not that many who have done it. I think Jonas has kind of indicated he would like to go. And then I read somewhere that his team is not too eager for him to focus on the Giro, because if he would do the Giro, he would do the Giro and the Tour de France. And I think one of the challenges is I think Jonas can perfectly do the Giro and the Tour. The question is, if you focus on winning the Giro, is that kind of subconsciously kind of giving up on giving it your 100% for the Tour? It is at the expense of the Tour de France a little bit if you do the Giro, unless you're Tadej Pogačar and you win 6 stages at the Giro and 6 stages at the Tour, like in 2024. But the challenge is also, Spencer, to have a proper supporting team around that leader for both of those races, and I think that's the difficulty. And then, of course, they do have Simon Yates at Visma, who has pointed out that he would like to go back himself. He said that the team hadn't decided yet. So I don't know. I think What we do know is Del Toro goes, and I think most likely Simon Yates will be there too. In this case, I would definitely. I think Del Toro's the favorite to win.
I don't,
unless Primoz shows up and wants to go for it.
That would be awesome. If I would love nothing more than that. Del Toro. I mean, I'm going to get a firsthand view at him, look at him next week, but I think he's getting better by the day. I think by the time the Giro rolls around, Primoz might not be able to compete with him. I mean, that 40K T. What's funny about these TTs is what GC contender does that not suit? Primoz Roglic, really good time trialist. Jonas Vingegaard, really good time trialist. Isaac Del Toro, good time trialist. Simon Yates, maybe not so good. He's the only one that would lose out potentially. I mean,
not so much. No, I mean he won the time trial in the Giro.
That was wild in Romania, right?
Well, it's not that long ago. Was it 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
I think it was 3. Must have been the.
It was in Hungary. It was in
Hungary. Yeah. But here, let's look at stage 10 time trial from this year, where it was Simon Yates. Yeah, he is pretty good. 23rd, right behind Juan Ayuso, and 20-ish seconds behind. No, 30 seconds behind Primoz Roglic. So he can time trial when he has to. I would be surprised if he wins a second Giro. but the flip side, I guess, of sending Jonas is, okay, maybe it's waving the white flag on the tour, but is it also taking his mind off the tour in a helpful way? Like, let's focus on the Giro.
Taking pressure off, for sure.
Yeah. Win it. And then it's less pressure.
The thing is, Spencer, they're going to have to ride in a different way. They have to try something different, right? If they want to put Pogačar under pressure. So in my opinion, the real approach towards having a chance of winning the tour is just, be in the race, save energy, be there, and be ready for in the case something happens to Pogačar. I think right now, unfortunately, that's the most hopeful scenario. You need to be in pole position in case something happens to the big favorite. And in that case, it could make sense for Jonas to go and do the Giro and then be at the Tour and just play the waiting game.
I agree that you have to play think of Simon Yates at the Giro last year, just waiting, less is more, waiting. And then if an opportunity presents itself, you pounce. I think they cannot do this front foot. I mean, it's funny because we criticize teams for not being on the front foot, but they can't do this. We're controlling it. We're here to win. I think you really have to just sit back, let UAE control the race. And if something goes wrong, you pounce. But yeah, I think you should do the Giro. I mean, I don't know. I think if you just go all in for the Tour, are you just setting yourself up for a lot of stress and potential failure? And maybe but here's this, Johan. Let's say he wins the Giro. How many he would then have won the Giro d'Italia, Tour de France, Vuelta a España? How many riders have done that in their career? Tadej Pogačar,
not many. Yeah. Not many. I know Eddy Merckx has done it. Vincenzo Nibali has done it. Chris Froome, Contador, Bernard Hinault. I mean,
really close.
We would go back. Is there somebody more recent? I don't think so. And probably we go towards, I don't know, Jacques Anquetil, has he done?
Yeah. And then there's one more.
One more, older.
Felice Gimondi.
Oh, Gimondi, okay. Yeah.
So it's Merckx, Hinault, this is an elite list. Merckx, Hinault, Froome, Anquetil, Gimondi, Contador, Nibali.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's not nothing. The chance to join that club.
Yeah. No, it's, I mean, we all know, Spencer, that there's so many riders who are, doing everything they can to win a stage in every one of the big tours, let alone trying to win the overall of all 3 Grand Tours. That's like the ultimate accomplishment, I mean, if you've done that, then, and then out of these ones you said, I think it's only Merckx. Did Anquetil win all 3? Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was never world champion on the road, I think. So I think it's only Merckx and Gimondi who were world champion on the road and win all 3 Grand Tours.
Wow. Yeah.
That's like, the big 4, the 3 Grand Tours and the World Championships.
Should Pogacar start? No, he's already won the Giro. Yeah, so he has to win the Vuelta this year.
Pogacar needs to win the Vuelta. I mean, he just needs to show up and then he's going to win it.
Then that takes us back here. If we think there's a chance he does the Vuelta, you better go to the Giro. Because I don't like any. I meant to do a deep dive on this too, but you mentioned the stages. People say almost as a verbal tick, I'm going to target stages. But actually, if you look into it, there's a lot of stages. There's 60, there's 42 plus 21 stages, so 63. But there's not 63 stage winners. There's a large portion of riders eat up almost all those stages. And it's really hard to win a stage at a Grand Tour.
Oh, yeah.
Way hard. Yeah.
I mean, listen, there's teams of riders who say, a rider I'm not going to go for GC. I'm going to try to win a few stages.
A few stages.
When I see that, man, I said, why don't you just try to win one? Right? Winning one is extremely difficult. Extremely difficult.
Extremely difficult.
In reach of very few people.
It's far more difficult than people think. It's shocking. Winning any race, like what did we say about Girmay at the top of the show? Didn't even win a race in 2025. Didn't have a particularly bad season. Just it's that hard to win a race.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break, Johan, and then we're going to talk about the potential for a cost cap or some confusing messaging around that, and then the what trouble may be on the horizon for those of us who watch cycling on HBO Max. Hey everybody, this episode is brought to you by Caldera Lab. With the days getting shorter and winter air getting drier, it's harder than ever to keep your skin hydrated and in good shape. Well, that's where Caldera Lab comes in. They've completely redefined men's skincare by combining advanced science with clean, non-toxic ingredients, so it's simple, effective, and actually works. Their lineup is perfect for a change in the season and ideal for keeping your skin looking as good as it was in your 20s. They have the good and award-winning serum that delivers nearly 3.4 million antioxidant units per drop to help protect your skin and keep it looking smooth and hydrated. The eye serum tackles dark circles and puffiness. 75% of users said their eyes looked brighter after using it. And the base layer is a quick absorbing, nutrient-rich moisturizer with a clean matte finish, no greasy feel, no fuss. Since I started using it, I feel like my skin looks better, and the routine every morning just has me leaving the house feeling confident and ready to go. So whether you're starting fresh or upgrading your routine, Caldera Lab makes skincare simple and effective. Don't settle for drugstore junk or steal your partner's products. Elevate your routine with skincare made for you. Head to calderalab.com/TheMove and use code TheMove at checkout for 20% off your first order. That's calderalab.com/TheMove. Everybody, this episode is brought to you by Quince. Cold mornings, holiday plans. This is when my wardrobe needs to just work. That's why I'm all about Quince. They make it easy to look sharp, feel good, and find gifts that last. From Mongolian cashmere sweaters to Italian wool coats, Quince pieces are crafted from premium materials and built to hold up without the luxury markup. Quince makes essentials every guy needs, and each piece is made from premium materials and is something you'd actually want to wear. And it's built to hold up season after season. You're not buying something you're just going to throw away at the end of the year. I'm currently in Texas on a trip, and I brought only Quince clothes. I am loving them. The jeans, the stretch jeans, comfortable on the flight. The t-shirts are breathable yet stylish looking. So get your wardrobe sorted and your gift list handled with Quince. Don't wait. Go to quince.com/TheMove for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. It's also available in Canada now as well. That's QUINCE.com/TheMove. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/TheMove. Okay, so Johan, David Lepartien, the UCI president, recently had a comment where he said they floated the idea of a cost cap to the teams, but the teams voted it down, and especially the smaller teams. Why would the smaller teams do that? I can't quite wrap my head around that.
I've read that too. I don't know, Spencer. I'm not. I'm sitting on the fence of this, salary cap. I think first of all, cycling doesn't really understand really in detail what a salary cap is. Now, you told me that, for example, in other sports in the US, it's an expense cap. It's not like a budget cap. And I think in cycling it's different because, what comes in goes out.
Because there's no revenue.
Tradition. There's no other revenue than sponsorship. Yeah. So I think cycling is different in that way, that the economic model is completely disturbed. You own a team, but you don't know if you're going to own a team next year because you're depending on sponsoring. And any other sport is different. It's an establishment that's, they have their stadium, they have their, their tradition, their following. Some sports clubs or sport teams, it's like a religion. For example, here in Europe, football, soccer, as you guys call it, it's, the big teams, it's a religion. You are part of a cult, basically. That doesn't exist in cycling. And so I don't know if, and would it really work in cycling? I'm kind of tempted to think that if there would be a salary cap, it would obviously, I think it would hurt because it's a certain amount of money you're allowed to spend amongst your 25 or whatever 30 riders, right?
Yeah.
Then I'm going to guess there's ways around it. There's image contracts, for example. Do these image contracts, are they part of the salary cap? I don't know. I think cycling's not ready for salary cap, honestly. I think cycling needs to work on improving the health of the economy of cycling, and then start to think about making it more equal. I do agree right now there are teams, UAE, Visma, Red Bull, Little Trek, these 4 teams in particular, they do have huge budgets and they are, taking a big advantage on other teams. But where is this not the case? And if I look, for example, at football here in Spain, I mean, you have Madrid and Barcelona, they're head and shoulders above everybody else in terms of budget, and they're dominating the sport. And it's been like this, it's once in a while, an odd year, there's another club that comes to the front and win the championships, but usually it's these two, right? And in other sports, it's the same. I mean, I just think cycling needs to change. I mean, why don't we, if we do a budget cap, and then there's also talks about a system of redistributing the money, right, amongst the poorer teams. Why don't we do the same with organizers? Why don't we bring ASO to the table and say, okay, budget cap, you cannot earn more than this. Whatever is more, you need to redistribute it in the sport.
They're going to love that. We should say so.
And the UCI, by the way, also they need to be part of a budget cap.
But they don't. They're just a nonprofit, Johan. They're just barely getting by. But you mentioned Real Madrid and Barcelona. It's a very good point. People seem to forget this with other sports. It's like, yeah, a few teams dominate. Even amongst those two, though, Real Madrid is so wealthy. Mm-hmm. And so dominant. I mean, you look at their accounts; they're crushing even these state-backed teams. And I'm going to forget the stat, but it's something like since 2018 they've won more Champions Leagues than Barcelona has in their history. Like that's how dominant Real Madrid is. But we might be answering our question of why did this get voted down, because it might not make any sense whatsoever in cycling, the way cycling currently is.
Wow. Spencer, you know what? You know what I think? I think it's voted down because no owner or manager of a cycling team is able to have a long-term vision, because they are by necessity focused on survival every single year. In order to be in favor, you need to be able to have a long-term vision and say, hey, you know what? this is good because in 5 years, I'm still going to be here and this is going to be better. Right. But every single manager, unless you have backers like UAE, but everybody else there, I mean, even Visma, they're constantly struggling for survival the next year or the next 2 years. And you just can't have a long-term vision. So they just focus on getting as much possible money to the team and try to have the best possible team for the year after.
And so we should say the reason American owners like budget caps or salary caps is that it caps expenses while then revenue is unlimited. So if you're an American football team, you can only spend, let's say, $100 million, but you could make $4 billion. So that sounds pretty good. And what happens when you do that is it increases the enterprise values of the team. So if you own a team and you are like, yeah, we should do a salary cap, because now the team I own is worth 10 times, because this is why NFL teams are worth more than Premier League teams, even though the Premier League is kind of bringing in a salary cap, because those teams bleed money. Like players are so expensive. There's an arms race with Real Madrid for the best players. But in the US, there's no arms race because all these teams are limited on how much money they can spend. It caps what players can earn. It allows owners to make more money and then, more importantly, sell their franchises for a wild amount of money because they're worth more. Because imagine a business where they say, yeah, the amount of money you spend is limited by law, but the amount of money you can make is unlimited. You'd say, that sounds pretty awesome. And then that business is worth a lot of money. Cycling doesn't really have that structure. There's no franchise structure. You would say F1 would be the closest. F1 recently implemented a cost cap that a lot of teams lost money. Now they make money because the amount of money they can spend is limited. But those teams, again, are kind of in a franchise system. And I don't think the drivers' salaries are included. So in F1, it works because what's important is F1 is your car and the amount of engineers you have working on the car. That's all capped. Like one team can't spend more time in a wind tunnel than another. Is that a crazy thing to think about in pro cycling? Like, should everyone be on the same tire? Like in F1, every team is on the same tires. I'm just like, I don't know. Is that something that could be, or you can't do more testing, or your altitude camps can't cost more than another team's, even though it's like in the NBA, we were talking in the pre-record, a team is in trouble potentially because they were paying a player the maximum, or he took a lesser salary, but then the owner had a business that was paying him a lot of money to be a brand ambassador, like $25 million. And then they're trying to decide if that was double dealing or not.
Yeah. I think that would probably, there would be ways to, but anyways, bottom line is, I think personally cycling is not ready for this. There's a lot of other problems that need to get fixed first.
Like a lot of other problems.
And the first one is the business model of the sport.
I was going to say the first one is the roads, like not having curved sprint finishes.
But the business model of the sport, that needs to change. Listen, it is unheard of that the main players of the sport, which are riders and teams, do not have any participation in the biggest revenue of the sport, which is the TV rights. That makes no sense. That needs to change first. And then teams would have less concern and less struggle to survive year after year.
Well, speaking of TV rights, so how do we watch cycling on TV? Well, it's been an up and down time, but currently it's not terrible if you're not in the UK, because if you're not in the UK, HBO Max. In the US, it's not quite as good because HBO Max doesn't have the Tour de France. But I believe in France and Spain and Germany, you just get this HBO Max service. It's not very much. I have a French subscription. It's something like, I believe it's about €70 a year, and I can watch all the races on my French HBO Max. But Warner Brothers Discovery, who owns HBO Max, just split their sports assets. So TNT, CNN, that's not sports, but like TNT and Eurosport basically got split off from the Warner Brothers studio and HBO Max. Now they're trying to sell that to Netflix. Netflix says they're buying it. The US government's going to try to block that because someone very close to the administration. Larry Ellison wants to buy it. So his son wants to buy it, David Ellison. So they're going to probably fight that in court. But the important thing is this split is not good for us, Johan, because I would assume it means that TNT and Eurosport's sports assets, which include cycling, will no longer be on HBO Max, which means if you're not familiar with the UK system, if you're in the UK and you try to, I'm going to buy some cycling, sounds like a good idea. I went online and you have to get this Discovery Plus app. It like comes with the TNT sports package. It's like $600 a year. Like I now am worried that that's coming for the rest of us, that these HBO Max easy days are over for us.
Yeah. I watch it on Max, on HBO Max. It's very good. So yeah,
we'll see. It's very sad. Let's hope that doesn't happen. We'll keep everyone updated. I am slightly concerned that in all of this goings ons, no one's thinking about the cycling rights, and they could get. I mean, maybe we could come back to some sort of cycling only service like we had with GCN Plus.
GCN,
I don't have high hopes for it. And also we were talking about training and riders like doing crazy training this time of year in a way that we almost don't understand. But I sent you this Jonas Abrahamsson on Uno X. So he's training outside, like he's posting pictures of like rides outside in the snow. And then he's supplementing that with, posted this online. He did a 5-hour Zwift ride, like one evening, 188 kilometers, and his average power was 305 watts for those 5 hours.
Is he all right?
And now he's at training camp.
I think he's, I think we're talking, this is an extreme guy, right? I mean, this is a great cyclist, super powerful. I would not want to be a cyclist and together be in a breakaway with Jonas Abrahamsson because you're.
He's not okay, by the way. Just answer anyone that gets in a breakaway at the Tour de France and never has a gap of more than a minute and a half and wins the stage is not okay.
Yeah. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. I saw that. He does these extra trainings on Zwift now to get back to his former level. And then I'm asking myself, does he know it's the beginning of December?
Just turned December.
He's not going to race until in the next 2 months.
Yeah.
Unless he goes to Tour Down Under. So yeah, I know. It's a bit extreme in my opinion, but hey, maybe he needs that for his mind, I don't know. Super strong guy.
This is something. So we're both of us are going to be on the Costa Blanca. Is that it?
Oh yeah. Next week,
next do the show together.
We'll have for the first time an in-person podcast between Spencer and myself all together, and so I guess we'll ride a bit.
The problem is if we ride together, then none of us we're not gaining distance on each other.
If you slow down a bit, Spencer, then I let you ride with me. Otherwise,
But we will investigate this. Maybe we'll have to ask some professional trainers, like what is exactly the methodology behind this? Feels a little over the top to me, but I'm curious.
I think that's pushing it a bit too much. That's just crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy, but I'm excited to do next week's show in person, get some rides in. I think it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, and you're going to be at the UAE.
I'll be at the UAE
Day, I guess
Media Day and investigating as much around there. I don't know how much we can say on the show, but there's just been a funny incident where I was being pretty critical of their bike. Or I'm going to ask them these questions. I had some questions about the bike, and they were trying to then convince me that it was a great bike, but I wasn't checking the email they were sending. So they were just like, man, this guy's a jerk. He's not responding to anything. And eventually they got in touch with me and promised to get me on one of their new aero bikes. And the easiest way to do it was just have me fly out and go to their training camp. So I will be there on the bike.
Okay, good.
All right. Well, thanks, Johan. And we'll talk next week in person.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Spencer.
All right. Bye.